Welcome back. Mr. Vincent Nwani is the head of research and advocacy for the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Did you see this loan and the purpose, maybe some of the purpose for which it's out there, that it will be used for getting us out of the woods?
Okay, listening to the earlier comment guest this morning, you find out that everybody is still in one form of confusion or the other. We need information, we need details. And I think I want to start approaching it from the point that some things need to be corrected with this administration, and if it is a capacity issue, let it be fixed. We've seen issue of what's it called, quality of information and depth of information play out during the budget issue. Now we're still going back with that in the borrowing issue. The paper and the media reported Senate shut down the government seeking a loan. No, it is just go back and do the right thing and get back to us. So we want to see details so that we're able to analyze. But the principle here is that borrowing is not bad at all. In fact, the statistics even coming from the debt management office shows that Nigeria debt to GDP can still accommodate more borrowing. I think it's about 20% to GDP now, both local and both domestic and foreign debt. But we want to see details. We want to ensure that in terms of this loan, what is the moratorium? Do you have moratorium? What is the interest rate? What are they concessions? Concessionary issues, are there obligations? This money don't just come because it's money. And the projects, where are the projects? It has to be bankable. The project need to be able to pay back the loan. And when is it going to be paid back? Because theoretically, there is what they call Ricardian equivalence in economics, and it says that it is not bad whether government borrow to finance its debt, or whether it borrow to finance projects or tax to finance projects. But what matters is that when you are borrowing, you know that your children and the future is the one paying, and for that reason you should be able to use that money you are borrowing to provide things that will make your children to be able to pay. So we need to see these projects and ensure that they are bankable. What type of money is this? Are they coming in grants? Are they coming in concession? Is it even a guarantee? Because we want to see, are they going into greenfield project? Are they going into brownfield project? Greenfield, brand new projects. Is it already existing project that you want to upscale or modernize or whatever? But from the chamber's perspective, business world, we've been advocating about public-private partnership. That if we get our ease of doing business right, communicate the right message, you may not even need to borrow as much. The investors are looking for where to put their money.
What exactly do you think is happening? Because I recall when you came here then with his the president's economic team in place, you also faulted the non-inclusion of the private sector in that team. Perhaps tell us, is that why we're getting to see some of these lapses within this presentation?
It is left for them to answer, and unfortunately from the time we made those comments about the economic team, economic managers, the status quo remains. We've not seen any change in terms of the nomenclature, the faces and personalities that are commanding this very critical sector. So that is it. But now we're talking about government borrowing almost $30 billion US. The principle here is that it is good if we're borrowing at all, it has to be external. Fine, because if you do that, you are freeing funds for the private sector to play. You don't put so much.
Can they really access it with the interest rates palaver?
The local funds, but at least if because currently government is borrowing even as much as 14%, whether it is TB, treasury bills or bonds of government. If government is going to borrow as much as 14%, it means that private sector is going to pay a premium on top of 14% to be able to access loan. And on the average, depending on the tenure and who is borrowing now in the private sector, is between 24% to 30%. And if you're getting that money from the microfinance bank, I assure you not less than 60% per annum, because you are charged 5% on the minimum.
60
monthly, yes, 60%. These are the challenges. So over time, private sector are already crowded out from the banking system. Another critical point we also want to look at is ability to pay back this loan.
What do you want to see?
Because the challenge is that all the time we talk about borrowing, we always refer to this almighty indices, debt to GDP. You know, 80% of our GDP components are not cash backed. These are just ordinary activity that doesn't translate to money. See, the 2016 budget, I don't know where it is, where we are now in implementation, have about 1.3 trillion naira on debt servicing, payment of interest. Out of this, local debt accounted for about 81%, or just debt servicing to pay interest, not even the principal. And that is about 40% of the total revenue of this country for 1 year on debt servicing. So it's a challenge. So if we are going to borrow, we really need a lot of information. Government needs a lot of help and input from technocrats, from the private sector. And I can tell you the best bet is to begin to clean up the doing business environment and attract investors.
Have you tried looking at the area where you think we need some of these money? You are at the head of research. So what exactly do you think we'll be needing if you were to suggest?
I didn't get it. The amount of money...
The areas, the sectors, do you think will be needing some of these loans?
Of course, the two most critical sectors is the transport sector and the power sector. You know, transport sector and power sector. And when I mean transport sector, we're going to fix our aviation, the airports. You know, of course, we are not subscribing to government going to establish a national carrier. Government should stay out of real business. Airline,
they're fortunate ahead of that.
You know, we are not comfortable with that, you know, but we need to fix our airport system. We need to fix our maritime ports. The LCCI, over the last 2 weeks, have been talking about maritime port reforms. You have the report already. We need to fix our routes. We need to fix our logistics, a key issue, moving trucks and passengers from one point or the other within the country and even within states is an issue. Then power. Private sector in 2016, so far, we just finished our quarterly business environment survey, shows that SMEs and medium and small scale spend about 40% of the OPEX operating expenses on power, either paying for public disco power that was never supplied, or spending or alternative or personal generating their own energy and whatever, from 40% of total operating expenses on power. So it's a key challenge. You waste your time, you waste your energy, and finally you can't even plan very well. So we need to fix power. If this money is coming, these two sectors are very critical without undermining other critical social sector. But what we forbid is using this money to maybe give states for payment of salary arrears and
we'll look at it
medical bills.
from that point in just a moment. Do stay with us.